Hello, can everybody hear me? My internet's like acting up again, so um, we'll see if we see we'll see if it lasts. So let me know if you guys are having any issues hearing me or anything like that. Um, and yeah, okay. So today's going to be like a discussion mostly about the social media app project that we're going to write. So again, we're going to be, building the entire thing from the ground up. Okay. Um, so it's going to be an interesting challenge. You're going to learn a lot through this. Um, it's pretty intense, but I think we'll be able to pull through, and you guys should be able to learn a lot, at least when it comes to like design. What you should do before you actually start. You know, actually trying to implement a project like, for example, a social media, website or application. So before we get to coding and stuff, we need to think about, some kind of designs. So one of the places that's really good to find some pretty cool designs that, other designers have put on in a little website here is called Dribble. That's with three B's, dribble.com. This is a great place for you to like, get some inspiration, see what other designers, have created and stuff like that. So, any designs that we take from this, we're definitely going to give credit. So give credit where credit is due. So we're going to use this to draw inspiration. We'll probably use some of these designs, and we'll add our own spin to it or whatever. So yeah, a lot of these designs are very beautiful. Okay, so I need to sign in real quick. So let me sign in over here. If I remember my password, uh, and then as usual, I forgot my password. Let me see here. Okay, I'm putting in my password on the other screen. So yeah. Okay, 1 second. I always forget my passwords. I probably should have done this ahead of time. Let's see here. So that is the wrong URL. Sorry, my internet's being really slow, so I'm like barely getting these emails in. Just give me 1 second here. God, I can't wait till I move. This area that I'm in, the internet is just so terrible. This is pretty nuts. Okay. Password reset instructions. Okay. Resetting my password now. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Password has been reset. Okay, cool. All right, so here all we're looking for is, in the search bar. So this is a great website. Just to find some inspiration again. So we'll type in here something like, social media, for example. Just hit enter, and then just see what pops up. And you have all these great, designs and stuff that we can, try and get some inspiration from. And again, so the way I like to treat these kinds of projects is whatever we see, we will implement. So if you think, oh, wow, this looks great, but also looks very, very hard to build, you let me worry about those implementation details. So whatever you guys like here, like, design wise, again, this is going to be a conversation between all of us. We want the website to look good, and I want you guys to have fun working on this. So if you don't want to build a project that looks exactly like what I'm building, that's totally fine. You're totally free to select something else, and I can totally help you with it. As far as features, though, I would just say whatever features we decide to implement into the project, I would just say that would be the only restriction. Like, just keep it to what we're going to build, and then afterwards, go ahead and add whatever features you want. Just so, like, we can move along pretty quickly, because again, we're building the front end, the back end, and any other kind of services that we need to build. So it's going to be quite a long project, but I think in the next 30 days from here till like end of August or whatever, we have more than enough time to make something happen. So Jim's asking, how's the new job treating you? So I don't start until August 2nd. So I start August 2nd, but thank you. But yeah. Imagine not using the same password for every site. I do not use the same password for every site. Hell no. Okay. So I think during the voting phase, we had said something about making a Twitter clone. So I think that's fine. So, I want this to be a discussion. So if you guys want to just rip Twitter's design and just build that, we can totally do that. We can totally, absolutely 100% do that. That's an option. I don't use social media all that much. Like, the most social media I use is like Discord. So I don't know what the new designs are for like 2021. Like, I'm not entirely sure. What is this? They have different color variations, or okay. Okay, I like the way this looks. This looks pretty neat. I like the rounded corners here. This pop-up card looks pretty sick. I love the way this looks. I love the color. I'm a sucker for blue. I'm not a big fan of the gradient, though. I think the gradient should be used sparingly just because it just looks cheap. But, that's just my opinion. Again, a lot of this stuff is subjective. But we should pick a design, style, colors, a name for it, and then we should just stick with that, right? We want to build a brand, right? This is all fake, but we want to build a brand. I've also duplicate Twitter and call it Bitware. Yeah, we could call that. We call it Bitware. Yeah. We call it Bits. Yeah, we'll call it Bitter or Biter or Bites. I don't know. I like this one actually. You like this design? I like the design too. I love the rounded corners, and I love the use of the shadows here to give it like depth, and I love how it looks very elegant with the white, and then you have this pop up on the top. This is like the supposed to be like the navigator, right? I love how it's rounded and stuff like that. Like, I love how this design looks. I mean, it's not perfect. I would make some modifications, especially when it comes to the color, but I love the fact that with this design, any color that we decide to use is just going to pop, right? It's going to pop. One thing I don't like about this design is the gradients. I think like 90% of the time you should stay away from gradients. I think Instagram has a gradient on the logo, but I don't think there's a single gradient on the actual website. I'm not entirely sure. I don't use Instagram, but I'm willing to bet they don't use it on the actual website or the actual app, other than the logo. Um, um, but I do love the color. love this. It looks very elegant. It looks very pristine. Looks very clean. It's easy to follow. It's easy to read and understand. I think this is a great design to at least start, and then we can, somehow build out our Twitter clone variation, whatever, into a design like this. So I like this. So if you guys think this is a good design, we can definitely start with this, and then yeah. So Alex says every social media now has a stories feature. Yeah, remember, these companies are pretty, I don't know. I don't say nothing, but nobody has original ideas anymore. Bitter? I hardly know her. Oh, geez, what a bad joke. I miss the OG Instagram camera logo. Oh, okay, there's a different logo. Yeah, like I said, I don't know any of this stuff. Okay. Um, so again, we don't have to stay hooked onto this, but I will copy this link and I will paste it in the chat. That way you guys can see it. And then you guys can start getting some inspiration. The idea for today is to get some inspiration and then, ooh. So this is the same app concept, but this is now more like the chat. Okay, so this is cool. So I'm gonna click on this person, and then I wonder if they have just a different design for the various parts. Yes. Oh, there's this new uh, this new formic or whatever. This is pretty sick. I do like it, though. You have to use very specific colors in order for this design to actually work. So I would personally kind of stay away from it, but it is a pretty design. Um, so I guess this is the social media app right here. Oh no, it's just these two. Yeah, I think it's just these two. So we have a concept for notifications, and then we have a concept for a chat and some uploads. So we have a chat, we have the feed, and then we have a place where we can upload some stuff. And I love the fact that instead of just underlining the where you're currently looking, the logo kind of pops up. That's pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about that, I like the idea, but in practice, this would probably be not a good idea, is the fact that this button could be accidentally pressed if you press in this area, right? Because, this button is on top of content, so it's bleeding out. So, we could probably do something where we make it colorful instead of just underlining it. But I would probably stay away from making it so large that it bleeds out of the application navigator, bottom navigation bar. This is acceptable. This is called a modal. We'll talk more about the very specifics. Right now, we're just trying to get some inspiration. So yeah, this person's really, really good. I like the designs. Again, these kinds of little nitpicks I'm saying, they will never work in the real world, but they're really cool to at least see. For example, this would never work in the real world, but it's cool to see. All right, so let's find some other stuff. Okay, that was a pretty good design. Let's see what else. Dun, 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 dun. Socials related to Instagram. Yeah, let's see what we got with Instagram. What is this? And also, if we focus just on Twitter, that's just you make a comment that anybody can kind of read. We have tags that are linkable. Like if somebody says hashtag food, clicking on the hashtag food would take you to all kinds of comments that have the hashtag food, so we can do stuff like that. Is this the same person? Yeah. Oh, this is nice for dark mode. Okay. Templates. Okay. These all look like apps, though. How would it look like as a website? Okay, yeah, that's a great question, Jim. Very good question. So let's do social media website. Okay, so this is more like a website style, so you can kind of see what it would look like as a website. It's a very good point, Jim. So again, I don't have a designer that I can like go to, which is kind of like why we have to like scavenge for some inspiration here. Is this really Instagram's website? I hope it's not, because this is like, I mean, it looks nice, but it's too noisy in my opinion. It's just like way too much noise. But, and there's that gradient right there. I don't think this is real. I think this is like yeah, okay, it's a redesign. Yeah, this is too noisy. Uh, but uh, let's see here. Okay. All right. So yeah, just if you guys have any like if you guys find anything, I think you guys should also Google too, and then like look for some stuff. Um, and then oh, this is nice. What is this, like Facebook? Facebook's design, honestly, really like it. It's very simple. It's not too noisy. It's like it's there. I really do like this kind of design. Um, I think this is a redesign though. This looks pretty nice. I don't remember Facebook looking this clean, but it still has that Facebook feel, which I do like that this designer that redesigned it also kept that feeling of that brand. They didn't lose that connection. So this is a concept. Yes, I think this is a redesign. This is very nice. I really like this. It still feels like Facebook, but it's obviously redesigned because I don't remember Facebook looking like this. I haven't used Facebook since like, like 3 or 4 years now. So I really don't know. But this kind of reminds me of Facebook, but I can see it's more modern, it's more sleek. Yeah, I really like this. This is great. I really like this. So we can do like a Twitter-based thing that kind of has this kind of concept, in place. That's totally something we can do. Uh, Insta's actual website is just the app, but bigger. Yeah, that's terrible design. um, should make it feel like it's a website, and then the app look like it's an app. All right, let me check Twitter. Let me see. I'm gonna. Let's see. So here's my Twitter. Don't follow me. I don't want you to follow me. I don't ever write on this stuff. I just use it to follow comedians. I have some friends on here, but I don't pay attention to Twitter. So if you want to send me a follow, fine, but I wouldn't. Um, so this is pretty basic. There's no navigation bar at the bottom, right? I'm assuming that if we were to make this smaller, possibly the design changes. So this is what we call responsive design, right? The layout will change. It will reorient, like see how this collapsed, based off of the screen real estate. So you can see here how it's changing as we have less and less real estate to play with. It'll change. So we're going to implement this exactly as well. So I don't know what the sidebar was that we lost. What's happening? Okay. So this looks like information that is not that important. Beautiful. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. I think we could just follow Twitter's. This is not too bad. I love how this button turns from saying tweet to just an icon. I like it. It's really, really cool. Okay. So we're going to build a Twitter clone. This is something that we can also use as a starting point. Just copy Twitter. And yeah, that's totally something we can do. Uh, Nobody seems to be talking in the chat, and nobody has some kind of like added comments or anything like that. So I guess we can just clone Twitter exactly. So we're just literally do a Twitter clone. If you guys find that boring, again, please say something. Find like a nice link that I can open. It has like a design that we can probably copy and stuff like that, or take inspiration from. So yeah, but I guess until I get some of that information, let's break down Twitter. I posted one, but it looks very similar to Twitter. You posted one? Was it in the Discord? I don't see anything. If you posted something, I don't see it. Yeah, I'm not sure if like YouTube chat removes links, but I don't see anything. It's above on YouTube. If you can post it on Discord, that'd be better. Because of the here's the YouTube chat log, and I don't see anything except for the one that I posted. Oh wow, this is nice. This is nice too. This is great. Okay, yeah. So let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, this is clean. Oh yeah, this is nice too. Okay, so I like how here we have a drop down. So when you click on home, or this area here also shows you trending, recent, and top. That's cool. It has notifications here for like when you have something new. The discussions, I don't know what this is for. Comments. So this is what comments would look like. That's great to see. So you can comment on comments. That's beautiful. Popular profiles. Okay, I like this. And then look at these. Okay, so notice that this design versus the other design that we're looking at, this one has sharp edges. The buttons can be rounded, right? The buttons can be rounded, but I would like things are rounded. Here. You should probably make everything kind of similar. These ones have these are soft. These aren't actually sharp edges. These are very soft, rounded. Okay, so this theme has rounded edges. That's cool. These look rounded as well, slightly rounded. Okay, this is nice. Good job, Jim. I like this design. We could follow this design. It's very simple. I like it. This is very cool. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. The little so this is a social media for medical purposes. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's very cool. Yeah, I like this. Okay. Okay, cool. So we have something to go off of. So I like this design. We can put this and the Twitter stuff, basically together. Okay. You can clearly see there's a lot of inspiration between these two websites. Probably took some inspiration from Twitter, for sure. I mean, why wouldn't you? This is a very popular website and social network, so I mean, why wouldn't you want to take some inspiration from this? This is really cool. Okay, I like this. We'll put our own spin. Obviously, we're not doing a medical one. Oh, I mean, we totally could. Why don't we do a social media website specifically for programmers? So it's like Twitter, but for programmers. So it's just for programmers. Because we understand that, right? We're software engineers, we're aspiring to be. So I think we should build a social media platform specifically for developers. Wouldn't that be something? What do you guys think about that? A social media network just for developers, you know? But not like Stack Overflow. 'Cause Stack Overflow is different. That's more like a blog site for just you know, asking questions stuff. This would be more like kind of like a sub thread, just talking about like different projects that you're working on, or just like stuff related to computer science, like machine learning stuff, like whatever. It'll just be a bunch of why not my code run, and yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Alex is asking, what about GitHub? Well, GitHub is more like specifically like a repository for storing your code. It's not really a social network. They have an area where you can talk, like when you have an issue, you can report something, you can talk about that. But yeah, I would like to give it like a nice theme. So I think the theme should be computer science, very nerdy, very techy. More like r/programming, exactly, something like that. But we'll just build something like that. So what we can do is, which is actually a really good idea, is if we do this route, we can actually handle things like signing in using your GitHub account. So that can be pretty cool. So we can learn how to do stuff like that. We can also link code, so we can like link a repository, for example, into like a comment, or like issues or whatever. We can do all kinds of stuff. So that's very much related to like coding and stuff like that. So yeah, I like this idea. So let's make it focus more towards like technology than just like anything, really. So let's try and build a focus around technology. Again, this is totally 100% fake, right? This is just all fake. So don't think this is going to be like the next best thing. But we will treat it like it's going to be the next best thing. So yeah. Okay, cool. So I like this idea. I like this design. I really like the design. Uh, the green, I love the green. The green is a great color. Um, I think though, because it's a programmer's thing, we need to figure out how to build this thing in dark mode. We need dark mode support. Okay, so we just gotta figure out how to do this with using dark mode. Fake it till they make it, exactly. Okay, I love this. I love this design. I absolutely love it. I think if we mix these two together in some respects, I think we have a winner. And then we have the entire theme is to like, more related to technology and computer science than anything else. Okay. Now, I want to talk about like the legalities of doing something like this or anything like that. If you plan on taking what we're learning here and make your own website and you become a billionaire, I don't care. Congratulations. Okay? I'm not going to be like, oh, you learned it during SoDA, so I won 10. No, I don't. That's bullshit. So if you love the project and you have all the code and shit and you want to like take it further and develop it and then you become like a super billionaire, yeah, that's totally fine. So you can keep this soundbite as proof that I don't give a shit what you do with the code. And yeah, this whole thing is about learning. So if you take it and you make something cool out of it, then congratulations. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. I'll make sure I put all the code under MIT when we do have a Git repository. I'll put everything under MIT and then yeah. Okay, very cool. All right, so we have something to go off of. So this is great. So this is a good starting point. But now we need to talk about more design oriented stuff. If I become a billionaire, I'll send everyone here 10 million each. This is a legal contract. All right, well, yeah, we'll put it on the record. Like we'll put on the record. Jim says I get $10 million. Everybody gets $10 million. That's $70 million because only 70 of you guys actually want to learn something here. So there you go, $7 million. $70 million. Good on you, Jim. All right. If you become a billionaire, I'll be happy. I want everybody to be successful. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about a little super awesome thing called Figma. So Figma is a great website to do like collaborative work when you're trying to build a design. So Figma is great for that. Wow, it's been 7 months. Oh shit. Okay. So here's an example of how Figma looks like. So this is my senior project that I did at Sac State. So you can, Victoria was the one. Victoria and Dat were the ones that heavily contributed to this. You know, I really rode them though, because I wanted this design to look super sick, and this is what they came up with, and there was a lot of discussions, a lot of meetings, but this was the overall design that we created. And so this is really, what's really cool about using something like Figma is that you can put everything here and then you can share it. I can share this with you, and like we have the colors. So like Victoria here, and got the colors from Sac State, because we're working with Sac State department um, to build this application. The school is supposed to actually integrate this, right? The school is supposed to actually integrate this application into the Sacramento State suite of apps. I don't know when that's going to happen, but if you guys ever see this in the future in Sac State, yeah, our our team, our senior project team, built this. Uh, so yeah, the design's pretty nice. We have a little custom calendar and stuff, but what's really cool is like you can click on these things. We can click on, I think is this an image? I think this is an image. You can hide things, show things, stuff like that. You know, we have these little buttons, stuff here, where these are little tabs. You can like do whatever you want with them, move them around. You can change the colors, whatever. I mean, you can do whatever you want. So yeah, so this is pretty cool. So we're gonna put our design in here before we even touch any code. So I know how to use this sort of kind of. I'm not the best at it. This is definitely something that most programmers probably aren't good with, because they usually receive designs and then they kind of just look at the designs and then use it as a uh, as a way to like sculpt out the project. But I want you guys to learn how to use Figma just for your own for your own sake. And also you can build your own projects. Like, why not build your own projects in here and then try stuff. So I'm so bad at this, I don't even know how to go back to see my other projects. Do I just go back? That might be the easiest. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, so I've worked on some projects on my own, and like some friends, just like trying to learn how to make better designs and stuff. But yeah, this is completely free. There's also the actual desktop application, Figma, that we can also use. So this is it right here. This is on Windows. Okay, so we're back to here. So we're here at home. Okay. So I believe I pay. This is free, but if you pay, I believe I pay. Let me see if I'm actually paying for this. I believe I am. If I haven't, I will start paying so we can use it. All right, so I'm not paying currently, so I think I'm on the free version. Yes, I think I'm on the free version. So here it says upgrade plan for unlimited design files in Teams. So I'm not sure how many teams I'm allowed to have. So I want to be able to invite you guys, so you guys can say. You can pay for yes, you can pay for Figma. So I'm gonna create a new team. I'm gonna call this SoDA. Create team. Add your collaborators. We'll skip for now, but I will be adding you guys. I'll definitely add Victoria. Sent me your email. I'm definitely gonna add you, or I think I have you on here, so I should be able to add you. Well, no, it doesn't autocomplete. So send me your email. So I don't know it off the top of my head. You can DM me that real quick. And then, all right, you just put it in chat. That's fine too. Continue. All right, let's see what the starter pack gives us. For personal use and for teams trying out Figma, free unlimited editors. Oh, beautiful. So we're good. Unlimited files and drafts, 3 Figma design files in team, unlimited Fig Jam files, 1 team project. All right, professional education, everything professional. Oh, well, I'm not in school anymore, so if you guys are in school, definitely take advantage of this. $12 per editor per month. Does that mean I have to pay for everybody? Well, we'll start from this one and then we'll see what happens. Okay, cool. So in here we have this plus sign right here. So we'll add a new project. We're gonna call this what's a cool name we can call our social thingy? So there are teams. I talk about teams for like the project. That's actually a good question. I think we should have teams just so we can keep each other accountable. Though I am like, you can think of me as being the main stakeholder and the project manager of the entire application, but I think we should split up into teams. There's only 7 people, like right now, watching the stream, and I don't know how many people watch it afterwards, but we can have a discussion on SoDA of, if you want to be on the team, put a comment on the on Discord, be like, I want to be on a team. And then based off that, I can either do random, or if you already know somebody that's watching, you want to be team up with them, that's fine. And that's why we can hold each other accountable. So what I don't want is I don't want 2 A-star programmers to be on the same team. I want like a really good programmer to be with somebody that's like maybe not so confident or like super beginner. That way, you can have a sort of like a way to help each other out, and learn from each other. So never knew Figma was. Yeah, it's totally collaborative. Yeah, it's totally collaborative. So everyone at SoDA can edit. Invite only, let me choose who has access. Can view. So I'm wondering if having members is the right way to go. Oh, okay, I have the project. Oh, okay. Because I don't want all of you guys to be able to see each other's projects, because I don't want someone to like, be some kind of dumbass and then start going to somebody's like design and start deleting shit. I don't want that to happen. So okay. Right now, there are 8 people watching. So hello, all 8 people. So if we do like teams of 4, then that's 2 teams. We have 2 teams, 2 different projects, and then you guys can all work together. Or we can do it in teams of 2. So we have 4 teams of 2. So you guys can do pair programming. Did I just say let us all in on the main one for now? Yeah, I'll make the main one so like only me and Victoria can edit it, and everybody else can view it, so you guys can see it, but you guys can't actually edit it. Just so like someone doesn't go in and starts trolling, starts like doing all kinds of shit. Not that I don't trust you guys, but you guys are from the internet. I don't know you guys in person, so yeah, I don't really trust. At least not yet. Okay. So the project name here, we're gonna call this I don't know, call this the social, we'll call this social media main. All right, great project. You have reached free limit of 1 project. Oh, okay, well. Do I have another project? I don't understand how this works. Is this a project? Is that one? This might be a project already. New file. Rename. Oh, okay. So we'll call this one. Well, see, but then how am I going to add you guys to one of these? New project. New project. New file. The heck is the difference between these two? Okay. So this is a project. No, this is a. Oh, this is a team. Who owns this team? Let me move this over here. Who's the owner? I am the owner. Okay, so we already have a team. Okay, so I'll just have to add you guys to. Okay. All right, so that's what I'll do. Okie dokies. So I'll do it in here. Okay, so start this again. Social media main. Create project. Beautiful. There it is. So there's our project. And I will create one for each team, and then I'll add you guys in. Or you can, yeah, I can let people handle making your guys' own projects. Yeah, we can totally do that. Okay, cool. So we have something here. So we're going to create a new, I believe it's a design file. Victoria is usually the one that does all the stuff. Okay, and here we go. So we can go right here. Let's see. Create a. We want to create a frame. So here, there's this thing here where we can create frames. And on the right side, oops, don't want to do that. When we go here to create a new frame, you can also press F on your keyboard. On the right side, these are like, different frames that are pretty popular. So, well, we have even some built-in ones. We have, here's one for a desktop. Basically, these are just going to be the sizes. Think of this as your canvas. You can have multiple of them. This is, so we know what, the designs will look like on various screen sizes. You can even see here, these are the screen sizes, right? Okay, you could also make your own, right? Whatever size you want, okay? But we don't want to do that. We want to, we want to pick something. So first we'll go with like a typical desktop. So this is a 1440, no, that's probably too big. iMac 1280 by 720, yeah. Yeah, we'll go with this one. This is like one of the larger ones. So we'll just pick that, okay. So this has a width of 1280 by 720. Now you might be saying, but Kevin, what if the website is super long? Yes, that's totally fine. What we care as far as the website is concerned is we care about the width, okay? We actually don't care about the height of the content. Why? Because you can just scroll, right? So here when we have a website, even like this website, for example, there's too much content here, but that's fine because we can just scroll to see the rest, right? However, the thing that you cannot control is the width, right? Because the user is going to change the width. So based off the width, you can see how this design is changing. Okay, this is called the responsive design. Okay, I was asked this question for my interview for the job that I have. They asked, what is responsive design? And this basically, visually, this is responsive design. It's the ability to adapt your website or application to the various layouts that could possibly happen. Like, different screen sizes, should have different looks. Okay, for example, like the Twitter. This is responsive. It's responsive because it's responding to the changes in the width. It does not respond to the changes in the height. Because who cares about the height, right? You can just scroll. So nobody cares about this, okay? Because you can just scroll, right? The answer to changing of height is just add a scroll bar. Okay. What we care about, something that we cannot control, is the width. So we have to make sure that our designs fit the various widths, okay? So when I chose this, I didn't choose it because of the height. I don't care about that because I can add a scroll bar. What I care about is the width. So 1280, I think, is a pretty standard width for a computer. So we'll go with that. Okay, so there you go, 1280. Again, we can change this later, but here we go. Okay, next. Well, we have a first screen, so we want to make something that looks like this, right? So let's start with the easy stuff. Let's start with this top bar, right? So this top bar is, you can think of this as just the toolbar or the application bar. So if you want to know about like, okay, how do you name things, right? How do you name things? The material documentation is really good. So we go to components here. Here's the app bar's top. You can see what an app bar should look like. So this is an app bar, okay? This is an app bar. Here's what an app bar at the bottom looks like, okay? So you've probably seen stuff like this. There's things called navigation. So this is the bottom navigation. This you've seen plenty of times before. This is called a navigation. This is the navigation at the bottom, okay? So we have app bar, the top part, right? And then we have navigation. So these two things are completely different. So what's the difference between app bars and navigation systems? What's the difference between these? Navigation is going to help you navigate through, very specific parts of your application. So for example, favorites, music, places, news, in this example here, right? These take you to very specific features of the application that can only be found on that particular page. The app bars, whether it's bottom or the top is the one you've probably seen the most, kind of like this, okay? As far as like a mobile app is concerned, it just gives you information that is related to the current screen that you're looking. So here, the usage right here. The top app bar provides content and actions related to the current screen. It's used for branding, screen tiles, navigation, and actions. So, for example, if you were looking at a particular post, maybe we have the heart icon that pops up. You can click on that and that hearts it, right? That's something that can totally be done using this. This is very context-based, okay? If you're looking at a picture, you wouldn't have a search bar because what are you going to search in a picture, right? I mean, you can make the argument that you can add like people's names and you want to search a person's name. Yeah, that's totally viable. But, most of the time, the search bar is going to be like you're looking at a document or something. You want to search something. For example, if you're looking at the current screen is like books, maybe you have a search bar up here to look for a particular book by an author, ISBN number, something like that. Clicking the three little dots here, these three dots is for like extra menu context menu items that don't fit here. So at most you should have maybe like 3 items here, and then everything else is going to go into this menu. So this menu here is more like context related about the application or screen, the current screen you're looking at. This hamburger can also help you navigate. It can show you like how to quickly get to the settings. Just navigations are screens, we call them screens that are more likely for you to like look at. For example, maybe you want to log out, maybe you want to check your settings, stuff like that. You'll typically see that in these thing called a hamburger menu. So this is more like a global thing. The 3 dots is more based on the current screen, more contextual, right? I don't think Twitter has something like that. Oh yeah, they have this 3 little dots right here. We can click on that. That shows you stuff like that. But they're not using it how you would normally see it. Okay. So let's focus in on here, our website, how we're going to build it. So we have this top bar here. So this is our application bar, which is going to not be so adaptive maybe, but some things will be adaptive. For example, this search bar will probably more be in context at the things that you're looking at. So right now, if I'm on the feed that's on trending, if I do a search, I will know that, or at least it is implied that this search bar is going to find something related to my search that is related to the trending. If I have to go to recent, it's going to, if I do a search, it's going to search through the recent. If I do a top, it'll search through that. Does that make sense? How this part can be contextual. And we usually have a logo here. You go look at Twitter. So Twitter doesn't have it. Does Dribble do have it? Yes, you can't see it here because I have dark mode on. But there's always like a logo, usually that goes here at the top left. Search bars can go here, or they can go here. Okay, so here there's two of them. Okay. On the right side, on the top right, again, totally dependent on the application, but on most times it's going to be like actions that are like super prevalent, things that are super important. For example, on Dribble, you want to, for example, maybe upload your design. So you can click on upload. This will help you upload. You also want to see the current account, for the user. There's my account. So this drop down, for example, here shows me all the information. If I click on it, it shows you my my profile information there. Okay. Here, I'm not sure what this is. Available for work. Okay, so this is like a very easy access stuff. This could have probably been over here as well, but whatever. So this search bar has more information than this search bar has. For example, we have this. You can look at different things, whatever the heck this stuff is. So shots, so I guess Dribble calls these things shots. So if you're looking for a particular person, you can switch the context to be like, okay, don't search for these kinds of content. I want you to look for a particular person. Like if you're trying to search for somebody, or I want you to search for a particular team if you're trying to look for that. On the app navigation system here, we also have like special links that can navigate you. It is very odd for a website to have a navigation bar at the bottom, like if it was a mobile app. Okay. The only time that makes sense is if like your screen real estate was really tiny. And you could probably have an argument to put it here to make it feel more like an application than a website. However, Dribble decided, hey, that's kind of dumb because it's not an app. This is a website. So you'll notice that the navigation items that were here, because they don't fit as the screen real estate starts to collapse, okay? It all handed all that extra navigation information that's globally accessible into this hamburger thing, okay? So you can see, right? And the design looks completely different than if it was full screen. So if it's full screen, it goes away. If I go back to smaller screen, it stays, it comes back, okay? So the top navigation bar here, or application bar, in the context of a website, we'll have the navigations usually as links like this. Okay, this is very much like standard, But when the screen real estate gets smaller, we collapse things to a hamburger menu. Okay. So that's generally the left side has navigation. We also have a way to get home. Like if I go to like learn design, okay, that's cool. Like I want to get back to home. How do I do that? Well, I could change the URL, or I can click on the logo, and that should take me home. Okay, cool. If I'm at Learn Design, I'm like reading, I'm like, okay, this is great, but now I want to go like find some work. I can click here. These are a way for you to navigate the entire application, no matter where you're from. That's why these are like navigations. These are going to take you to help you navigate to the through the website of like the main contents, the main things that the website offers will all be here, okay? It's not going to show you all the content, but it's going to show you like the main things that this website provides will be here, okay? In an app environment, you would usually have those in a navigation bar down here. Why? Because it's quick access. It's very quick access. Right? For a website, though, it sometimes doesn't make sense to do that. Okay, it doesn't make sense to do that at the bottom because it's not a mobile application. So they're trying to make a distinction between the two. Okay, so you have to like learn when to use a bottom navigation, versus when to use, the navigation at the top and then collapse it into the hamburger menu when you run out of screen real estate. Okay. So let's first focus then on this here. We'll focus on this part of our website. So we won't have a navigation bar at the bottom because this is for a website. We'll have the navigation at the top. Okay. In particular, this website decided not to have these things here. Why? That's part of the design. Remember, a lot of this stuff is subjective. So instead of having the navigation be a part of the app bar, the very top here, they decided to have the navigation be its own widget. Okay? Its own widget. Okay. So much like Twitter, the navigation is not here in a traditional way because social media sites like Twitter and Facebook or whatever, they're trying to be more like a web application than just a traditional website. Okay, that's what's kind of happening here. So they want this to be more like an app in a way. So it's like this is very much in the middle between a website and a full-blown application. Okay. So for example, if we go on to like something like YouTube, if you have the app for YouTube, then you should know that the navigation is at the bottom, right? There's usually a navigation thing here at the bottom. If you're using the YouTube app, you can go to like trending, I think, or call explore now, subscribe your subscriptions. I think there's a button so you can upload. So YouTube has that on their app. On their website, they don't. All those things are on the left side, right? It's all on the left side. Okay. Usually the main things that you would see like these are like the main things. You have home, you have explore, and you have subscriptions, and then you usually have a button, this one to create, so you can go live or whatever. That's usually at the bottom when you're dealing with an application, like an actual mobile app. For a website though, you could do it. It's just not a good idea because you're running out of real estate. Like if somebody has a really small phone, like this, if you put an app bar right here, you're cutting off the visible real estate. So it just makes more sense that you put everything over here so you can see more of the real estate here. So Alex is asking, does making the website look more like an app make it translate a lot better with its features / functionality? You can achieve that by staying consistent with the iconography. And what we mean by iconography is like, look at these icons here. If I were to remove these English words, just looking at the icons should give you enough information about the application for you to navigate. You need it to look like a one-to-one. It should still have the same look and feel, right? It should still have the same look and feel. However, because the two platforms are completely different, they sometimes cannot share a one-to-one when it comes to the design. So a case in point is a bottom navigation bar versus having the navigation be at the top, right? Part of the application bar. Case in point, the hamburger button. Versus having an application bar at the bottom like you would see on the mobile app. So are you guys buffering? Yeah. Let me know if you guys are not buffering anymore. Okay. Yeah, like I said, my internet is really trash where I'm at right now, so yeah, my apologies. Okay. So yeah, please let me know in the chat if you can still hear me. Still hear me. as you guys can see right here, I'm getting like this is like terrible. It's like up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't know what's going on. I'm not running any downloads or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, cool. So yeah, I just want to make that distinction. Again, a lot of this stuff, we're not even talking about program. We're just talking about design. We need to make a distinction between a website and an actual app. And these are just some of the things that we need to talk about. So here, you can see like this is what you would normally see on the mobile app. Home, Explore, subscriptions in your library. This is usually what you see. So we go, I don't want to click on the trending tab. The trending tab usually is trash. But if I click on subscriptions, I don't have any subscribers. So YouTube is trying to tell me, hey, you should probably subscribe to these people. But this is the SoDA one. I don't subscribe to anybody. There's library. So these are all the contents that I currently have or whatever. Okay, so this is pretty standard, right? It's pretty standard. This you usually see at the bottom. But for a website, it doesn't make much sense to do that because you're kind of cutting off the height real estate that you have. Which is not a good thing. So you want to move that on the website maybe to part of the hamburger or move it to the left as a widget. Now here in Twitter we have that style. I believe Twitter also has it at the bottom. Twitter has the bottom, but on the website it has it to the left side. That's a huge distinction between a website and an application. However, the way they actually look and function is very much the same. It's very much the same. Okay. So let's build out the very first part. Now that we have a good understanding of that, so let's build out the first part. So how do we do that? How do we build this first part? Okay. Well, we go back to here, and we can create something called a frame. So here we'll start off here, and then we'll just go all the way out, just like that. Okay. And then using Control and the scroll wheel, you can zoom in, make sure it's like attached to the end. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So there's our app bar. Okay. Doesn't do much right now, but there it is. So here I'm going to right click here. I'm going to rename it. So I'm going to call this application bar. Okay, I'll call application bar. That's totally fine. Okay, cool. So again, following the same design here. Oops. Following the same design here, we have a couple things. So we have a button. So let's make a button. Okay. So how do we make a button? So with the button, you can do a couple things. You can have like these shapes, you can create stuff, or you can just use a frame again. So here we're going to use a frame again. So I'm going to make the button up here so we can kind of like play around with it. Okay, there it is. It's white right now. So I'm going to rename this frame. I'm going to call this button login. Now I know that this frame is a button. Okay. Now this one has a very particular design in that it's rounded. You see how we have these rounded edges? The radius here is rounded. Okay, so let's try and do that. Let's try and achieve that first. So how can we achieve that? Well, if you look at the frame here, there is these things right here called corner radiuses. Right now, this controls all of them. So we can increase this. You can see. You can just drag. You can click in this area right here. Click on the icon. Your mouse is going to change. You can see how it turns into an arrow that has a left and a right arrow. You can use this and you can like go like that. Okay. Now I'll make it rounded. Okay. So if you want to make all the corners rounded, you can just use this tool. Or if you want to pick a particular edge, a particular corner to make round, you can do it. So here, you can select a very particular one. So this is a top. You can make the top rounded. Or you can make, what is this? So the second one is going to be the right corner. So we can do like 50, for example. That makes the right one. We can make, this one is the bottom right hand. Pull that in, whatever, right? You get the idea. So I'm going to unclick this so I can control all of them at the same time. So I want them to be fully rounded because we call this the pill shape because it looks like a pill. Okay. So to make sure you always get the pill shape, no matter what the height change is like. So if I increase this height, you can see we have this. If you make it more round, it's going to keep making it more pill shape. Okay. Obviously the buttons should not be that big, but just trying to make a demonstration here. You can always just go here and just say 999, right? That'll make sure that you always have a rounded pill shape button. Cool. So the next thing is we want to change the border colors. So we want to add something called a stroke. So the stroke here gives a border on the edge. Okay, so you can achieve that again right here where it says, oops, not the fill. Right here where it says stroke, you see where it has this plus sign? We can add this effect. So these are all the effects that we can add. So let's click on this plus sign right here on Figma. You get this plus sign, and it adds the border. You can click over here, and you can change like how thick it should be. So this is like 1 pixel, and there you go. That's how it's going, how thick it's going to look. Okay. Okay. So in our case, if we're just going by the design here, it's like that green color. So we can go over here. We can change this. Click on this. Now we have access to this. We can change the color. Okay. So we'll change it to this color, for example, and we'll leave it like that. Okay, cool. Now, if you look here, we have some text. It says log in. Okay. So what I can do here is I can right click and I can go to, where is it? Where can I add text? Oh, I can't do it directly. Okay, that's fine. You can click on this text button here, or you can hit T on your keyboard. Okay, now my mouse has this, it looks like a plus sign. I don't know if you guys should be able to see my mouse, right? It has this little plus sign. And so we can then drag in this area, and then boom, there's our text. Now you'll notice that because I dragged it in this area, it's actually smart enough to detect that you wanted to put it on the button. So now it's parented. So now these are together. So now I can start typing. I'll type something like login. Okay, there it is. Okay. Now I can center this using here. You've all seen this on, Word. You can center things like that. You move to the right. So this is left justify, center, and right. So we need this to also be not only centered horizontally, but also vertically. So we can actually use this. So right now it's aligned from the top. Can make the center, or we can make the bottom. So we want to align it in the middle. Okay. And what we should do is we should actually increase the size of the text to take up the entire parent frame. That way we know it's right in the middle. So it's right on the money. So we can right click here on this text, rename this to text. Okay. So there you go, text. We'll be a little bit more specific. So let's rename this to text login. Okay, there we go. Now we want to match the color. We want to match the color, right? So we click here, go to the color tab, and we've already used one color. So we can click on this. Now it's both the same. There it is. There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm now going to click on this button part right here at the top, and I'm going to drag it where it needs to go. It needs to go somewhere in this area. Now you can see that as I'm dragging it, It's actually smart enough to be like, okay, I'm part of the application bar. You can see on the top left on this layer section. So the application bar has this. If I hover over with my mouse, you can see that the bars pop up over here. So it's automatically going to try and help you align it. So this is like the middle, right? And then here's the middle, however, aligned with the left side of the button. Whoops. And then here is the middle of the parent, which is the application bar, but aligned with the center of the button. And then if I go over here, this is the center, but aligned with the right side of the button, right? So if we look at the design here, however, the button is on the, whoops, the button is on the right side, and it's pretty long. So it's a long button. Okay, so click back on the button here. Let's zoom in. And then we're going to drag this. So we want it in the center, but we want it offset a little bit. Offset a little bit. And we want to elongate the button, so let's make the button a little longer. Oops. So let's click on the button, the parent, and we're going to make it long. Okay. Now, what's the problem here? You're noticing that the problem here is that the text, okay, is not centering. Okay. So if we click on the text, you'll notice that the text only ever grows to this much. So that can be a problem, right? We don't want to change the parent and then have to change the child as well, right? The size of the child. We want the child to always take up the same width and height as the parent. So how can we fix this? Well, we can use something called constraints. So here are the constraints on this side. So if I click on here, I can say I want it to be constrained horizontally. You can see this is the icon. This is horizontal. To be constrained on both the left and the right of the parent. So if I click on that, boom, there it goes. So you can see there's this constraint, this little dotted line. Okay? There's a little dotted line. Okay. So what we then need to do is on the width, if we set this to not 0, so what am I looking for? Is it centered? I thought it was the left and right. Okay. What am I missing here, Victoria? That should make it stretch. I forget which one of these is the one. So I think if I just stretch it, I think that should be it. So if I ever change, no, it's still not doing it. Where is, oh, I think it's auto layout. No, don't want to do it on that. Auto layout on here. So we want this one to, here it is, auto width. There we go. Oh, no, that's going to be the contents of the actual site. That's not what we want. Left and right. This one should be top and bottom. And then constraint proportions. This is the part that I don't actually know. There should be a way to do this. Victoria, if you're still in the chat, if you remember, that would be a great time. Because you can keep it so that on the constraints side, they should always take up the same height, the same width as the parent. Though I don't remember how to do this part. Again, I'm not a designer. Here we go. There is, one sec. I thought it was under the layout, but I don't see that the layout actually is line top, line right. Align center. There should be a way. I don't know. Usually it's through this auto align, but I don't know why it's not letting me. Fix size, auto height. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Did I do it? That seems about right. Okay. I think I did it, and I don't know how. Oh, okay. So yeah, I think you have to do the left and the right. align it, and then you have to stretch it yourself. And then that should fix it. Because now, if I crunch it like that, if you look at the width and height of the text, you can see it's highlighted. It's now the same size as the parent. Okay, good. There we go. All right, so there we go. So now we can change the width of the button, and the text also moves with it. So it's always going to be in the center. Okay, cool. All right. So what else? What else do we need? Okay, so we need 2 buttons. So one's this button. This is the longest button. Which will make it, let's say, 100. So you can also control the width here. So again, I'm controlling the width from the button. So we'll make this 100. And the height will be, yeah, we'll keep it as 30. That's fine. So long as the constraint on the text is center for the first constraint, it should work. Okay, cool. All right. Now the problem is that we can't actually see the navigation section. It's kind of hard to see, right? So the way you solve this problem is, if you can see here, it looks like the entire background that the application is going to live on, the website, is like an off-white. So what we can do is we can click on the root of our screen here, which is called iMac, because that's just the size. We can change this by going here and then renaming this. This is more like a 1020, this is a 1280 by 720 frame. So I care more about the width and the height than I care about what type. So this is 1280 by 720. So if I click here, I can actually change the background, which is the fill color. So we want to make this like a slight off. Oh, it's filling it all. Okay. So we'll make it slightly off-white, like that. And then on the application bar, we'll give this a color. So we're going to add a fill color here, because currently it doesn't have one. So we're going to add a fill color and let it be white. Okay. There we go. So now you can clearly see that this is the application bar, and this is the rest. So this is probably a bit too dark. Something like that. Yeah. So not completely white, a little off-white. Okay, cool. So let's make another button. So we'll duplicate this. So using Control D, you can duplicate it, or you can right-click here and go to duplicate. Where is it? Oh, it doesn't have it here. Oh, copy. Oh. It doesn't have the shortcut here to duplicate. All right, but if you want to duplicate, you can just click on this and then do Control D, and that'll duplicate it. Okay, so here we have another one. So we're going to move this to the right of it. Okay, and this one's going to be this is the sign up button. Okay, there's a sign up button. So we're going to rename this button here. So this is button, sign up. We're going to change the text over here. Double click in here. Sign up. Okay, there we go. Change it to sign up. And then on the button, this one does not have a border, it has a fill. So we go to the effects over here. We're going to remove the stroke, which gives us the border. And we're going to change the fill instead to this green color. And the text, as we saw on the button, it's white instead, right? Got to get that contrast. So on the text here, we're going to click on here. We're going to change the fill from this green color to white. All right, and boom. Just with those 2 buttons, it's already starting to pop. So it looks really nice. Now, if we see here, there's supposed to be like a little gap. So let's add the little gap. Right, you don't want to have the buttons right on top of each other like that. You want to add a little gap. So we'll push the login button slightly a little bit to the left. Right, there we go. Beautiful. Look at that. That looks sick. We only have 2 things on it. It's already looking hella nice. So again, I'm just taking the colors from this. I'm not even like we don't even have a color palette yet for the website, but I'm just using this for now, but we can totally change these colors later on. All right, so what's next? So let me zoom out here. So now we have this search bar. Okay, we have the search bar. So this will be the last thing we do, and then We'll talk about logos next time. All right, so let's build a search bar. So the search bar has multiple components to it. So let's study this. Let's study this. So how would we build this in our Figma design? Okay, well, based off of how this looks like and based off of how we made the button here, okay, how do you think we're going to do this? Well, we need this to be a frame. We're going to make the corners rounded. We're going to give it a border with a slight gray. And now there's two pieces of content here. There is this icon, which is an hourglass, and there's some text. So these are going to be two separate items that we're going to need. So total amount of components that I need to build is 3. We have the container for the search bar. We have this container for this icon. And then we have the text, this other component. Okay, cool. So we need at least 3 things. All right. So I'm going to click on this little frame to create a new frame, or I can hit F on the keyboard. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to hit F on my keyboard, and then I'm going to drag. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to exaggerate it, and we'll just go with that. Okay, cool. Very cool. So just like before, the search bar needs rounded corners, just like these buttons did. So how do we achieve that? Well, we now know how to do that with Figma, right? If you go over here, we control all the corners, and we can do that, right? Like I said, if you want all the corners to always be in a pill-shaped form, go ahead and just type in 999, just to emphasize the fact that the corners should always be rounded. Okay, beautiful. The next thing we need is we want there to be a border around our little search bar. And it's like, it looks like a 1 pixel border, and it's like gray color. Okay, no problem. How do we do that? Oh, well, first of all, let's rename this. So we're going to go from rename, frame 1. We're going to call this search bar. Okay. Here's our search bar. And the way we add a border is we add one of the effects here as a stroke. So we're going to add a stroke. Boom, that's 1 pixel. Okay. And we can click on the color, and we want to make it like this gray color, so it's like barely noticeable. Okay. So we'll go with that D0, D0, D0. Okay. You can't really tell because the background here is gray, but if we zoom in, you can totally see that there is in fact a border there of at least 1 pixel. Okay, cool. What's next? Well, we need this icon here. Okay. Where's a good place to find icons? Hero icons. HeroIcons.com is a good place to find icons. So we're going to go here. We're going to type in search. Boom, there's a search icon. So we want to grab the copy SVG. So click on that. Okay, so I'm going to actually copy this website, put it in the chat. So if you're looking for icons, go ahead and find it here. So we're going to copy SVG, copy this, because this looks just like the one we're looking for. Pretty standard. I copied it. I'm going to click over here. I'm going to hit paste. And then boom, there it is. Now this comes in its own frame. Okay, and then here's the vector, right? So I'm going to just unparent this like that. And I'm going to delete this frame. So I don't think I really need the frame. I just want this vector, right? That's going to be my actual image. So I'm going to, whoops. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to drag it over here. Boom. Right there. Center it. Beautiful. Beautiful. So right now it's 18 by 18. So we actually don't want it to be 18 by 18. We want to go something a little bit more standard, which is like 24. Open up this. So the width changes to 24 and a height of 24. And this is mostly because we're going to be using the scaling that Tailwind uses. And so this is a nice scale to use. Okay. There we go. Now, okay, so we're going to right click here. We're going to rename this to icon. We'll call this, what is this called? Magnifying glass? Magnification. Okay, whatever. cool. So there it is. Now, we want to make sure that it's always going to be centered from the left. So we can add a constraint here to be on from the left. So we're going to have a constraint on the left. So why would you want to do that? Well, if we look at our icon here, it's always going to be on the left-hand side. So we want to basically enforce that. So how can we enforce that? Well, by us putting a constraint on the left side, no matter how I drag this, if I were to like constrain this, notice that the hourglass always stays relative to the left. So that's kind of like what we're trying to do here. Okay, beautiful. Now we just got to change the color to this green color that we've been kind of using. So there it is. Beautiful. Look at that. Pretty nice. Next, we want to add some text here. So we're going to click on this text, or we can hit T on the keyboard. Okay, now my mouse turns into this little cross. So now I'm going to put the text like this. Boom. Okay, now here I can type in search, ... like a placeholder, like I would a placeholder. Okay, that's great, right? Now let's look at the search bar. Okay, it's looking pretty close. So the only thing I need to do is I need to make sure that the text is aligned to the left. Okay, and it's also kind of like grayed out to show that this is placeholder text and not some input that has already been put in by the user. It's called placeholder. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first thing is we're going to right click on the text on the layer section. We're going to rename this to text. We're going to call this placeholder search to specify this is placeholder text. Okay. Now we're going to align it to the left by clicking here, text align. There you go. It's on the left side. Then we're going to go onto the on the fill. We're going to change the opacity to, let's say, something like 50%. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we're also going to make it lighter, a little lighter. So we're going to keep that opacity, and we're going to make it ever so light. So we'll go with this, we'll go with that color. Boom. So now it's nice and slightly transparent. Okay, cool. Now you'll notice that the search is probably, so the hourglass is too much to the right. So let's push this hourglass here. Let's push this more to the left. Okay. And let's look at the image here. Okay. So I just gotta align this. So it looks like it's aligned slightly ajar. So let's move this like that. I think that's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. So we'll leave it like that. Okay, so again, we want the search bar to also be constrained. So we're gonna do a constraint on the left and the right, and we'll leave it like this. And I think that should be, oh, we need to also change the top and the bottom here. And that should be it. So now if we stretch this, you'll see the search bar comes with it, and we're good. Okay. Now the magnifying glass, you might think, oh, it's stretching about. That's totally fine. It's not like this thing is going to be stretching so much, so we're totally good. Now we're just going to align this to the very center. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Very little stuff that we're doing here, but look how fancy this is looking. Right? This is looking hella fancy. Okay. Looking hella fancy. So the text looks like it's a bit too small relative to everything else. So let's make the text a little bit larger. So how do we do that? So let's go to the search bar here. Go to the text. Here we have the size of the text. So we'll go with like let's go with a 14. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. Not bad at all. Yeah. Thank you, Victoria. Again, I didn't come up with design, I'm just copying, right? Copying the homework, but making some slight modifications. Okay, cool. Okay. Boom. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Not to toot my own horn, but that looks pretty damn good. That looks pretty damn good. right? That looks pretty damn good. Now, this is just the beginning, okay? This isn't like the final product, but one thing that you should hopefully start to realize is how powerful this tool is. We haven't even wrote any code. However, by us building a design before we start writing any code, this is going to give us a better idea of how the entire application is going to be laid out. So when it comes to writing the code later, it's going to be super fast because, well, we already know what everything should look like. We already thought about all the different screens, all the different buttons, what colors they should be, how big they should be, how spaced apart they should be. We can even talk about things like the font size, the font types, branding colors, etc., etc., etc. So this is looking pretty damn good. I'm very happy with this. So this is good progress for today. Okay. So let's do a quick recap of what we talked about today. So we're going to start doing the our social media application. And Jim found this really nice design. I really like it. It's very much, how Twitter, looks like, which is very nice. So there's like some huge similarities here, which is a good thing. And also because it matches what we're going to do, which is a social media clone, particularly our Twitter clone. So we're going to build a Twitter clone, but we don't want to copy Twitter exactly. We want to add our own little spin. And although this is I think this is a social media thing for medical, I'm getting that from the little signal here, kind of like a heartbeat or whatever. We're going to use this as a starting point for our design. Okay, so that's kind of like what we did today. This is going to take some time. This is going to be the most time-consuming part, is actually designing everything. We haven't even written any code. We haven't even talked about backend, nothing. This is the design. As far as like the actual content, this is basically everything we're going to do. We want to write posts. So we want to show the user's name. So we want to have users. We want to have a post maybe with an image. You have like, this is more like an article, right? But we want to have like ability to put a picture, maybe write some text, do some hashtags. We want to be able to have people comment. We want people to like it. We want to be able to have a sharing ability. So we want to have it generate a URL so you can share it with your friends and they can go directly to it. We want to have a navigation feature, like a widget here, that helps you navigate between the most important things that this application is going to have. For example, your feed, discussions. This would probably be more like a chat. So we'll replace discussions with like chats. We can have some private messaging going on. Library, I'm not entirely sure about that. We can probably change that. Leaderboard, what is this, a game? I'm not entirely sure what that is. Favorites, that makes sense. We want to see all the posts that you favorited, that we can totally do that. So yeah, we can see stuff like that. We have these two buttons and stuff. And so yeah, this has most of the stuff that we want in our application, which is good, which is very good. So, and then we talked about Figma. So we have a little bit of Figma right here, right? And this is kind of like what we built today. So it's not too bad. This is not too bad, okay? All right, so we're a little over time now. It's 7:37. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you liked it. Manuel's asking, were we supposed to make a Dribble account to follow along? No, you don't need a Dribble account. That's totally optional. That's something that you can use just to find designs and like have, something to draw inspiration from. That's kind of what Dribble is for. That's why I introduced it. So Jimbo's asking, I actually had a question unrelated to today's lecture. Is there a way to access our Express server from our React app? I've been trying to make an API call to the Simon 4 server using React project, but I can't get it to work. Yeah, so if everybody's done for today, feel free to sign off or whatever. This is basically going to be it for today. If you guys have any questions, like Jim's asking, Jim has a question. So if you guys have any questions, let me know about any of this stuff. There's also one reminder. If you want to be a part of a team, please make it known on the Discord so I know how many people want to be in teams and I can set teams up. Or if you guys know each other, you guys want to be on a team, that's totally fine. Again, I don't want two A-star programmers or whatever to be on a team, right? Spread the skills so you can help somebody else learn, right? The whole point of this is to learn. Uh, so try and be with a partner that maybe doesn't have that much experience, so you can help them, right? Because the way I like to learn, and the way I think it's probably one of the fastest ways to learn, is you can learn faster by teaching. So if you're helping somebody else out, that kind of benefits you too. So make it known if you want to be on a team, and then just say on a scale of like, 1 to 10, how confident are you in your skills, and then I'll get a general idea, and then I can put people in groups. So depending on how many people say they want to be in a team, that will depend on how many teams there are. If you want to be by yourself, it's totally fine. I don't recommend it. I think you should be on a team. That way you can learn how to communicate, and work in a team. So yeah, think of this as a mini senior project. So for any of you guys that haven't done senior project, you can think of this as a senior project, but condensed to 30 days instead of like a whole year. Okay, well, if anybody has any questions, that'll be it. Jim, I saw your question on Discord. I'll help you. So go ahead and hop onto the VC General, and I can address you from there. So if nobody has any specific questions about this, then yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys for coming and showing up, and yeah, this should be fun. I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye, everyone.